I would like to discuss today is how to tame your inbox. And if you are anywhere like me, you have quite a few emails coming into you every day, and it can get a little bit overwhelming. So what I would like to discuss is rules, filters, and smart mailboxes. But I have a question for you first. Is this your inbox? And I hope you're laughing and saying yes. So is this how you feel about your inbox? Frustrated? A bit overwhelmed? So how do you tame your inbox? How do you get from a large number to this and start feeling this way? You can use filters, rules, and smart mailboxes to tame your email. So with that, we're going to go into two sections of your inbox. We're going to cover iCloud.com, and we're going to take a look at the Mail app. And we're going to look at your iOS devices, iOS on your iPhone and iPadOS. And the first thing I want to say is that when you go to Mail on iOS, there's actually sort of no way to create a rule in your Mail app, and actually neither on iPadOS. What you have to do, you have to use iCloud.com. And when you open up iCloud.com on your iOS device, this is the thing you'll see. You see the image of the iPhone. You have access to the Photos app, the Notes app, and the Find My iPhone app on your iPhone if you go to iCloud.com. There's no way to get to rules or get to your email, actually. If you are on iPadOS, you see that you have access to Mail, Contacts, Calendar, Photos, and other apps. So you can create rules on your iPad, but you cannot create rules on your iPhone. All right, so now let me exit. And I've already opened up my iPad to my iCloud.com account. And we're going to take a look and go directly into the Mail app. And it's just the way it is. You're going to see stuff that you probably wouldn't see otherwise. All right, so the first thing I want to say about iPad, looking at the Mail app on your iPad, you'll see that on the left-hand side, you have your inboxes and you have your folders. Now this is iCloud.com, and I'm going to scroll up and show you everything that's here. Your inbox, your VIP, drafts, sent, archive, so forth. And below that, you'll see the folders. These are the only folders that I have on my iPad, or I'm sorry, on my iCloud.com account. If you want to create a rule, and what does a rule do? A rule will direct where you want your email to go. So I'm going to go ahead and let's create a rule here. If you go on down to the lower left-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a gear icon. If you click on the gear icon, you can then select rules. And here's the rules inbox. And right now I have no rules here, so I'm going to create a rule. And I am going to select add rule. So the criteria is, and I'm going to select if a message is, and these are the options you have. If it's from someone, if it's addressed to, CC'd, addressed to CC'd, or has a subject containing, or has a list ID. I'm going to choose has subject containing. And in this subject, I'm going to type in May 27th. Then, what can you do? I want to move the folder. Here are some of the options that I do have. Move the folder, move to trash, forward, and so forth. I'm going to leave it as move folder, and I'm going to select choose folder. Now, I don't want to send it to any of the folders that I have presently on iCloud.com. I'm actually going to create a new folder. And in this new folder, I want to name this new folder May 27 folder. Select done. And I'm going to select done again. So over on the left-hand side, you'll see a new May 27 folder. All right, so George, can you send me an email? And I want the subject to say May 27. Let me know when you send it, please. So I'm going to click on the folder, and I'm going to wait and see.
Send.
All right, so George sent his email. And let's go to inbox, sent. There you are. So the rule was, if a subject has May 27, put it in the May 27 folder. So that's basically how a rule works. You tell it, you set the criteria, you set the filter, and you create the destination for it. All right. So that's really pretty straightforward. So now I want to go to my Mail app. And let's go to Mail. All right. So in the Mail app, you have things that are slightly a little different. And give me 1 second. All right. So give me a second, sorry. So now I'm on the Mail app on my computer, and things are a little different here. You have on the left-hand side, you have some of the same items that you saw on iCloud.com. You have mailboxes at the top. I'm going to go over smart mailboxes later. You have on my Mac, and down below here, you'll see iCloud. And what I don't see right now is the folder that I created on iCloud, which should be showing up. So let me do this. Let me quit this and let me turn it back on, because that folder should be showing up. Give me 1 second for it to load. All right, there it is. So here's the May 27th folder that I created on iCloud.com. Now, I'm sure that most of you are familiar with the Mail interface, but let me quickly go over a couple of things. At the top of the mailbox, you have your toolbar. This is your toolbar, and you can customize this toolbar. If you right-click, you can select Customize, and you have a bunch of icons that you can select and drag to the toolbar. So if I wanted to copy something, I could select that and drag it here. If I want to take any of these out, I just drag it back out. And I'm going to choose Done. So here below the toolbar, excuse me, you have the Favorites section. And this is where you can put any favorite mailbox. You can just drag it up inside here. All right. So going, excuse me, going back over to the left side, I have my mailboxes, my smart mailboxes on my Mac, and I have iCloud.com. Now, when you are working through your Mail app, you actually have two places that you can put your mail. You can put your mail on your computer on my Mac, and you can also have it in your iCloud.com account. So why would you do that? For me, I do it for organization purposes. I don't want every single piece of mail that I have sitting on iCloud.com. And I find that it's easier for me to organize my emails and folders better if I'm using the Mail app. But this is not an either or choice. You can have all of your emails on iCloud.com. You can have all of your emails on your Mac, or you can split them up the way that I do. So let's take a look here. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with iCloud.com. I'm going to create a folder, I'm going to create rules, and I'm going to set a destination. But I'm going to show you that you have more features when you're working through the Mail app than you do on iCloud.com. But there actually are some different things on both. So when you're working with Mail, you have to do one thing differently that you didn't have to do on iCloud.com. You have to create your destination folder first. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to the inbox and I'm going to click on a George Rubin email. And the reason I'm clicking on this is because I want some of this information to come into the rule automatically. So I'm going to then go to Mail, select Preferences, and it's going to bring up the preference dialog. And let's select rules here. I'm going to start by just clicking on a rule at the very top. If I click on a rule at the very top and then add a rule, this rule will then be created above the rule that I've selected. The reason I'm doing this is because I want this rule that I create to occur first. I want all of the ensuing emails to come after this one. So I'm going to name this one Critical Zoom Info. Oops, you know what I did? I forgot to create the destination first. So if you don't create the destination first, once you start creating this rule, you're going to say, uh-oh, I forgot to create the destination first, because Apple does not give you a way to create a new folder once you get this far into it. That is a hiccup that I wish that they would fix, but they haven't, or they haven't changed it. There are other email programs that will allow you to do this, but the Mail app does not. Excuse me. So let's back out of this. Select Cancel. I'm going to slide this over for a second, and I'm going to go right back to here. So let's do this. Let's go to Mailbox. I want to create a new mailbox. When I select Create a New Mailbox, I get an option that I don't get on iCloud.com. The option is the location. I can create an email mailbox on iCloud.com or on my Mac. Here you see the folders that I've listed that I've created on iCloud.com, and these are all of the folders and subfolders that I have on the Mac. So let's just say I want to create this on my Mac. I'm going to name this folder Critical Zoom Info. So I've told it to create this new mailbox on the location on my Mac. And when I choose OK, that folder appears right here. But that's not exactly where I wanted that folder to be. I want that folder to be in with my other George Rubin emails. So I'm going to take this folder, click on it, and I'm going to right click. And I can also do this from the menus up at the top. And I'm going to select Delete Mailbox. It's going to ask me, do you want to do this? Knowing that it will permanently remove emails? Sure, not a problem. So that's gone. So you can create and delete email mailboxes pretty easily. So let's go back. I'm going to go back to Mailbox, back to New Mailbox. And this time, I am going to create this on my Mac, but I want to create this in a folder, and actually it's a subfolder that I already have titled George Rubin. I want to create this new mailbox in the George Rubin folder mailbox, and I want this named Critical Zoom Info. I'm going to choose OK. And here is my new mailbox, Critical Zoom Info. So let's leave that there. So George, can you send me, oh, hold on a second. George, can you send me an email and I want the subject to be titled Critical Zoom Info. So you do that. Actually, don't send. Did you send it already?
Done.
Oh, okay, I'm going to ask you to send me another one. Hold on for a second. So let me do this. Let me go back to the rules. So back to Mail, Preferences, and back to Rules. So I'm going to add a rule. This rule is going to read description. Give it a name. Critical Zoom Info. Doesn't necessarily have to be from George, but because I know that all these emails that will have critical Zoom info will be from George, I'm going to say from George. And because I already have a rule from George, I'm going to add another criteria. The subject is going to read, contains critical Zoom information. It just picked that up from the title. And then, let's see, is there any other criteria I want? Then I want it to, nope, so I'm going to take that off. Then I want it to move the message, to perform the following actions. I want it to move the message to, and here I'm going to select the George Rubin Critical Info mailbox. So it's going to take this and move it here. And then there's one other thing that I want to tell this rule to do. I want to tell this rule to stop evaluating rules. The reason I'm doing this is because I have other rules here that relate to George. So once it finds an email from George that has this particular subject, I want it to stop. And let's do this. So you see all of the different criteria that you have here that you did not have on iCloud.com. You can, the different headers, any recipient, message is addressed to my full name or the date sent, date received, account. You have a lot of different criteria that you can list as a filter that you don't see on iCloud.com. And even with subject, same thing. So I can tell it to move, copy, set a color, and actually I want to do that. Let's do this. I want it to move the message. I want it to set the color of the message to, let's give it a purple, and then stop evaluating. So let's choose OK. Now, I already have about, I think, 400 rules in Apple. So right now I'm going to tell it not to apply because there's another piece of this process that I want to show you. So I'm going to tell it not to apply. And let's just slide this over. And all right, so I'm going to go to my Critical Zoom info mailbox. George, can you send me that email? Let's see if it populates.
Critical Zoom
Info, Critical Zoom
Okay.
info in the subject. So that's my inbox. And here is George. And let me know when you send it.
Sent.
Okay. So we're going to give it a couple of seconds. And so right now, nothing shows up in the inbox. It's downloading one message. So it doesn't show up in my inbox. The app just told me that it's downloading one message. And let's see. There's George's message with the rules applied to it. So rules can allow you to sort your emails into different locations so you don't have a lot of emails cluttering up your inbox. So any questions about anything so far?
Judy, you have one hand up.
I'm going to.
Cynthia
Okay.
does.
Cynthia, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Hi, I wanted to know how to do this for the NMUG emails. And I did it already because somebody showed me how, which I had forgotten how, but it only gets some of them. I must not have the right wording because some of the emails stay in my main box and some go to the NMUG box that I have.
Now, that can be a very good question, because with some of those emails, have you read them before?
No, it collected mail I had read already. When I first made it, it collected mail from a couple of years ago.
Okay.
But sometimes it's not NMUG, it's like Naples mug or something.
Then you have to put that criteria in the filter. It has to be there in order for it to find it, and you can make sure that those rules are grouped together. So I'm sorry, say that again.
It would be a different rule?
No, it could be the same rule. When you, let's go back to preferences. When you create a rule, you see these plus signs over on the right-hand side, plus and minus.
Mm-hmm.
You can keep adding as many criteria as you like. So I could say from subject, and I can also say like contains, message content contains, or then I could also say the different subject could say another part. It could say Naples. It could say NMUG. It could say the different phrases that come into that subject line. So just keep adding to the criteria.
What if the address? Oh, sorry for the thing. What if the address is like from Eckert or something? Then those don't always go in either, but sometimes they do.
All right, so you have to find a criteria that works. You have to put in a criteria that works and do this plus or minus thing, adding the different criteria. But I'm going to go on to the next question. Thomas Hopkins, can you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
Yes, thank you, Gina. Thank you for taking my question. I don't know if it's the right time to ask. I've got 13,000 emails that are all in the cloud. Some of them are old business ones. And every time I get a new phone, iPhone or iPad, of course, and then I click on mail, it wants to put a whole bunch on the iPhone or iPad. My question is that can I just drag them out of the cloud onto my Mac and then they won't be in the cloud anymore, or do I have to clean it off my iPhone or my iPad?
Actually, that is a perfect question. All right, so I'm going to stop at answering questions and demonstrate the answer, which was actually next. All right, so I have, let me go to my inbox. All right, so I'm in my inbox. I have a message here from George, and it reads InMug critical. I have another one here that reads the same thing. Another one here for 520, and another one here 518. They all say the same thing. These are existing emails, and I have 650 different emails in my inbox, but I want to take these. You don't have to physically drag them. If you were in a web program, or even if you were on iCloud.com, you would have to physically drag and drop these. But when you're in the Mail app, you don't. If you create a rule that tells these emails where to go to file themselves. So I'm going to select, and I don't even have to select just those. I'm going to select these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they have different emails associated, different emails in here. So you'll see how on the right-hand side, it groups the messages. What I'm going to do, I can go to the message menu, and I can tell it to apply rules. And I've been holding off on this just for this demonstration. When you have existing emails, if you create a rule, you can select any existing emails and apply those rules, and those emails will get sorted. So if I select apply rules now, Did you see the shuffle on the right-hand side? I'm assuming you said yes. So now if I go to Critical Zoom Info, instead of that one email, I have the other 4 that I had selected. So I can go through everything that is existing. And if I've created a rule, I can select them, go to Mailbox, go to Messages, select Apply Rules, and the rules that I have will go through and look at all of those emails and apply those rules and sort them. So hopefully that helped. Thomas, unmute yourself and give me a response to that, please.
This is a wonderful way to do it, but I've manually on iCloud got something like 50 folders because I did them all the sort manual there.
Yes.
And so I want to, just for argument's sake, I got a water heater 10 years ago and I've got some emails on it, and I don't need to see them every day, but when it's time for a new water heater, I'm going to want to go find that email. So I'd like to preserve that folder that's on iCloud and put it on my Mac, but I don't want it to be on my iPhone and iPad every day.
Hold that thought, because I do have a solution to that later in the presentation. I'm going to take a next question. Betty Larson, will you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Thank you, Sheeta.
You're welcome.
My question is, when your emails get sorted into those many mailboxes,
yes,
do you miss things then because you don't see them? They land there, and if you don't look in that folder, or
nope.
am I getting that wrong?
No, that's a good question. You're not getting it wrong, sort of. All right, so let me let me answer you. If you look over on the left-hand side, you see all of these numbers, 2, 151, 11, 44, so forth. These are all numbers indicating that I have unread emails here. So that keeps me from missing them.
Okay. Even though they've gone into a mailbox, you're going to see them because of that.
Correct.
Does that refresh every day, or
it stays there until I read the email.
Okay. Do you have to set anything up, or does that
No.
automatically happen? Okay.
No, it automatically happens because it's unread.
Okay. I see. I have some work to do.
Yeah. So this is why, for example, in some areas you may see 2, or in George's case, 71. These emails are there, but I haven't gone in and read them. What I do sometimes, I'll just read the way I have the email set up to show me the first couple of lines, and then I can glance over it when the email is in the inbox, but I don't have to go in and do anything to it right now, because, okay, I know that I need to come back and look at this. So I don't read it. I just read the first couple of lines, and then I can go back and attend to it later. But that unread indicator is always there, letting me know that I have to go back and attend to this.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. All right. Michael Slider, Slider, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Can you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
Yeah, the question has to do with sorting all of the different emails, and I'm confused about using different accounts, and also this in conjunction with the smart mailboxes. Can you explain that?
I will explain smart mailboxes. I only use one account, iCloud.com. So this is the same account that you saw on my iCloud.com on the web page on my iPad. It's all of my iCloud.com email comes in right here. So anything that's on iCloud.com, I see on all of my devices. Anything that is sitting right here on my Mac, I only see on my Mac. So I can take everything or some things from iCloud.com and take a look at them. Right now I have 646 emails sitting on iCloud.com, but I have thousands of emails in my inbox on my Mac. And here are some that I have not read. So it's one account, same account. And I'm going to go over smart boxes in a second, but does that answer part of your question,
Yeah, and
Michael?
it does, but did you answer it in terms of if you have multiple accounts, like a Gmail account?
I'm not going over multiple accounts. I'm only going over iCloud.com, but I do know people who have multiple accounts, and those accounts, multiple accounts, would all show up here.
Yes.
And you could basically do the exact same thing that I'm doing now.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So let me make sure that I covered. Okay, Linda Colvin, can you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
Yes, I have a question about what happens if you've accidentally moved an email or even a folder into some other mailbox where you didn't mean to put it. And sometimes when I search for that, it may say, that it's in some folder, but I have to open all the folders on my Apple Mail to find where it might be.
That is one of what I consider a frustration of Mac Mail. It is sometimes very hard to find something if you've accidentally put it somewhere else. So yes, I would say that sometimes you have to hunt and peck the way you were doing to see where it is and physically pull that folder out. Even though Mac has a search function up here, I don't really find it to be all that useful. So
Can I
I'm
say
sorry. Yeah, hold on. I'm sorry I couldn't give you a better answer for that. Go ahead, George.
if she finds it right away, she can just go
Yes.
to edit and delete or
Or
unmove.
undo. Unmove. Oh yeah, undo. Edit or undo. Can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, Sheeta.
Yes.
On my computer, on my Mac, there are a number of folders underneath that, some of which are deleted messages, drafts, notes, but there
Yes.
are about 11 or 12 that say recovered messages. What does that
Yes.
represent?
That represents the mail recovering messages that I don't know if there was like some type of hiccup, because I've seen it happen, and actually it sort of populates itself. Sometimes you will see emails that create themselves in your mail app. Recovered messages may be one, import may be one, and in my case, spam created itself as well, depending on what was going on with the mail system. So recovered messages, I'm not going to click on this because I don't know what's in it right now, and there's only so much I want to show you. So it was somehow recovered, come back into your mail operating system or in the mail app. Okay, that's the best answer I can give to you right now.
Okay, can I just delete them?
If you read them, look at them, see if they pertain to anything you're doing, and yes, delete them.
Okay.
Once you delete them out of these mailboxes, they should not come back, but make sure it's something that you want to delete.
Okay, thank you, Sheeta.
Yeah, you're welcome. You don't have to hold on to it.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to continue on. I thank you for your questions. All right, so I'm going to continue on, and here I have, in this mailbox, I have 71 messages from George Rubin. And about 2 or 3 months ago, I asked George to do me a favor. And that favor, and he did, and I thank you, George. The favor was I asked him to start naming some of the emails in a certain way that he sent out as messages to us. And he started naming the InMug critical info. We also have messages on our Wednesday meetings where he put Wednesday in the title. And when we had classes, he started putting classes in the title as well, the word classes. So those were all from me. And thank you, George. The reason I asked him to do that, because I wanted to create folders, and I wanted to create these rules to show you that, again, even with existing emails, you can enact your rules so that they go into different folders. So, for example, right now I have 21 emails in the Wednesday meetings folder. And let's do this. I'm going to select this first email in the George Rubin folder, and I'm just going to select all. So I can do this by pressing Command A or select all. And then I'm going to tell it to apply rules. I can also just right click while I have all of these emails selected and choose apply rules. And it may take a second or two because I have 400 and something rules. And when I tell Mail to apply rules, it's actually going to sift through all of those 420 rules that I have. And considering this might be a little more than I should have asked it to do right now, which I think it might have been. So I may have to just stop this for a second. Okay, there you go. So this one should not be here. Apply rules. And there you go. It goes to its destination. Here, there used to be 72. Now there are only 39. So Wednesday meetings, I used to have, it still says 21. So 72, now it says 39. So I didn't seem to have more than I had less than I thought there. But what you saw is that it did sort the emails and put them into different folders. So now, the next thing I want to show you are smart mailboxes. A smart mailbox is a way for you to look at your inbox without moving the email. So, for example, I have a smart inbox, several, named Today. I have one named Attachments, one this week and this month. So Today shows me all of the emails that I have today. Attachments goes through my entire emails and tells me that there are 44 emails that have attachments. I want to see these because I want to either file these attachments or I want to see what they are, see if I need to keep them and delete them. This week, sometimes I don't get to all of my emails today, imagine that. So I want to see all of the emails that I got for the last week, the last 7 days. And if by chance I'm too busy and I miss that, then I want it to show me all of the emails that I got this month. So I can tell it, I can set different criteria. So I'm going to create a new smart mailbox. So from the menu, mailbox, new smart mailbox. So it brings up a new smart mailbox, and I am going to name this text files. And contains, I want it to match all of the following conditions. Let's see, do I want this to be from George? No, I don't need it to be from George. It may come up that it's from George, but I want any attachment. I want attachment type. I want the attachment type to be a text. And I want the date received to within the last, let's see, yesterday, last week. I want it to be in the last 14 days. And I could tell it to look in the trash. I try to empty the trash often. That's something to consider. I could also tell it to look in sent messages. And you also have thousands upon, if you're like me, you have thousands upon thousands of emails in your sent messages. I like to try to keep a record of it. I know there's a 12-step program for that. I'll work on it. But I want this rule to show me any attachment that is a text file, the date received within the last 14 days, and let's choose OK. So that smart mailbox now shows up here. It tells me that I have 5 of these files, and it's showing me it's showing me that I have 5 unread files. But these are all files that I've received in the last 14 days that have text messages attached to them.
Cheetah,
And here are 3 from George. Yes.
You made 14 years.
of days. I don't know if you saw that.
I could not hear you. Say that again, please.
You had selected years instead of days.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, great. I did that on purpose. All right. So I didn't do it on purpose, but with that mistake, if I double click on that text files, I can say days and change it that quickly. Thank you. I can change it just that quickly. So now these are the text files that I've received in the last 14 days. 14 years, wow. I do have emails in my mail app that are that old. So thank you. All right, so that's how you can create a smart mailbox. And hopefully that, Mr. Hopkins, that answered a question that you had. Any other questions? Scott, unmute yourself and ask your question.
You just said that you have emails that are 14 years old. Is there a way to set up email trash so that they're deleted after a certain period of time?
Yes, you can. I don't, because I personally don't want things automatically happening like that. I would prefer to delete an email, and there may be a reason why I keep an email. And I won't, like, for example, there are some emails that are from dear friends who are no longer here, and I want to archive their emails in a certain way. So yes, there's a reason why I hold on to some emails, or I may want to go back, but I'll show you that in a second. Michael, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, it has to do with smart mailboxes and regular mailboxes. But if you go to the sort by date at the top of the panel where it says sort by date, and there's the
Yes.
and then to the right of that there's the little aerial button that says new messages only. Do you see that? Right where it says sort by date. At the top where you were, where it says sort by date, to the right of that column, there's a little button there. Do you see that?
Where are you asking me to go? Where?
Right up to the left, to the middle column. And
Middle column. Oh, here?
Right there, right.
Yes.
Okay, now when I click on that, sometimes, the missing emails that someone was talking about in their new ones, and then to see how they interact with smart mailboxes and all the other ones you have. When you push that button, what is it doing?
It's sorting by read and unread. Here's my unread and here's my read.
If you have emails, like someone said they had 1,400 that they couldn't find, if you did that, would you find them again? The unread?
It's possible, but I don't want to answer that question. That's more technical support. I want to answer what I wanted
to see how it applies to what you did. If you do the unread, what happens?
Right now it's showing me all of the emails that I have in this smart mailbox. If I select this button, it's showing me only the unread emails.
Okay.
That's what this button does.
Was that an easier way to sort through it? Is like a double sort?
No, it's not a double sort. It's just showing you whether or not you're looking at an unread message versus a read message. Okay?
Hey, I don't know.
I'm sorry?
Is that a better way to do it?
To do what?
To sort by the unread only?
It is a choice for you to view it that way.
Right.
It better or not is a judgment for what you're doing. Okay, John, please ask your question.
Cheetah, in the smart mailbox, essentially that's creating a
duplicate mailbox. It won't take it from where it is, right?
It's not creating a duplicate mailbox. It's basically creating a portal for you to see all of the messages that fall under that criteria.
Thank you.
Okay, and it does not move any of your emails. It just displays them to you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Bill Neese, ask your question, please.
Cheetah, thank you.
You're welcome.
If I have inadvertently deleted an email and I'm looking for it, it came within the last 2 weeks. Is there any way to recover that other than Time Machine?
If you haven't deleted your trash, it's still sitting in your trash.
In mail trash?
Yes.
Okay.
If you haven't deleted it if you delete an email, it goes here into the trash. If you don't delete the trash, that email is still sitting there.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Linda Colvin, unmute yourself and I'm sorry, Cynthia, ask your question. You're first. You're next. Unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi. If you are in a regular mailbox, not a smart mailbox, is there a way to leave things to make a rule that something will stay in your regular inbox and only move to the other inbox when you've read it?
Yes, you can create a rule that says if an email has been read, go here. If it hasn't been read, it will stay there.
How do you do that? I don't see a way.
Okay, let's quickly go to preferences and go to rules. There should be a way to create something like that. Let's add a rule. Message. It's under message content message. Okay, I don't see where I don't see that, where that can be a criteria. If message is unread. So no, I don't see that can be set as a criteria. Okay, but there's got to be a way to do that. The only problem with that is if you accidentally click on that unread message if you accidentally click on the unread message, the unread button will disappear and then that email may then jump to the other folder.
That's true. It definitely does. Okay.
Yeah, so that way that can become a problem. But until you have a rule telling any email where to go, it stays in your inbox. So, that may not be, a necessity. It's a question, maybe.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. You're welcome. All right, Linda, you're next. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, is there some way to create an alias in another folder? I've got a specific example right now. I'm trying to pull together data for a meeting next week from different mailboxes from lawyers and CPAs and all. So is there some way to make an alias from those other mailboxes in a new mailbox pertaining to the meeting?
You could possibly create a smart folder for that. So let me show you. Under smart mailboxes, you can also create what's called a smart mailbox folder. So here, if I create let me back up. If you create a smart mailbox and create the criteria for, let's say, one of those options, then create another smart mailbox for another option and keep going, you can then create a smart mailbox folder. Let's say, just for example, for clients. And then I could take those smart mailboxes and drag them into this folder so that it will then show me all of the smart mailboxes, say that 10 times, that have that criteria. So do you see how that could be helpful? Linda?
Well, see, I kind of had thought that if I had a smart mailbox, then it would move the mail from the mailbox where it is into the smart mailbox. And I didn't want to move it. I just wanted to reference it like with an alias.
A smart mailbox does not move a single email.
Oh,
It only displays the email. It's
Oh.
like looking through a window, and I've told the window to only show me certain criteria.
oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I've
that
never
mail,
tried.
yeah, that mail never moves. Give it a try, and send me an email if you have any issues or questions with it. But a smart mailbox is just a portal or window for you to see the email that fits this criteria. So if you have several smart mailboxes with different criteria, you can then put all of that in a folder. And once you click on that folder, it shows you all of the smart mailboxes with that criteria. So
Okay.
try that and see if that can work for you.
Yeah, that's one reason I stopped what I was doing, because I never did a smart mailbox and I had a lot of questions. Thank you.
You're welcome. Give it a try. All right, James Cutler, unmute yourself, ask your question.
Actually, it's a comment about the gotcha button.
What's the gotcha button?
Well, if you look at your mail screen there where it says P. Becker, and right above the word yesterday is that antenna looking button.
The red, unread, yeah.
That's the gotcha button. I learned about that. I use classic mode, so I don't see all that other garbage on the screen. And somehow that button had been clicked. So all the messages I read, I couldn't find anymore looking in my classic view of mailboxes. That's why it's a gotcha button. But that's absolutely independent of rules, smart mailboxes, or anything else. It only applies to the display that you're looking at. And it's an additional mask or filter in front of your eyes.
Correct.
As you demonstrated when you clicked on it, and two of the messages disappeared, then you click again and the message came back.
Correct.
So
it's only showing red, unread.
Yeah,
all right.
But it's absolutely independent of all the other wonderful things that you've just been describing.
Thank you, Jen. All right, Mitch, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, I have a couple. I noticed when I was I don't use the mail app on the iPad that much, or on the computer that much. I use it on the iPad. If I create a smart mailbox on the Mac, will it show on my iPad?
No.
Okay, then the other thing I noticed is that I did have, not a large number, but a few hundred emails on my Mac that were like from 2009, and I have been to the 12-step program, so I wanted to read them right away. But I don't even know how they got there, and I want to make sure that they never get on my Mac. I'm using iCloud, so would I have to do something? I would actually have to go down and click on my Mac and save it there. Is that right?
If these emails that you're talking about are right now in your iCloud folder,
yes,
you can set up rules that will pull them from iCloud to your mailboxes on your Mac. You don't have to physically do it one by one.
I don't want them on my Mac. Fact is, I'd like to delete on my Mac if I could completely, but I know that
you cannot delete on my Mac. What do you want these emails to be?
Well, I want them to be in the cloud. I got rid of the ones that were, there were only a couple hundred on my Mac, and they were dated from 2009, and I went through and deleted them all.
Okay, so what's your question?
I just wanted to know if I wanted to put something there, you told I would have to intentionally save it on my Mac.
Correct. Yes.
And then I just had one other side question. When you keep on moving your cursor around and all of a sudden it shows a white circle, how are you doing that?
I'm using an app titled Mouseposé.
Mouse what?
Mouseposé.
Mouse? Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. James Corsica, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Cheetah.
Hi.
I want to give you an analogy and ask me and tell me whether it's correct or not.
Sure.
Mailboxes are to the mail app as playlists are to the music app. That is, the music is not really in the playlist. That what's in the playlist the music playlist is a kind of a code that references the music in a where the music would be in a larger location.
That would be the analogy for a smart mailbox. Yes.
Smart mailbox, not a regular mailbox.
Correct.
So a regular mailbox has the actual email in it.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, so now let's move on. Thank you all for your questions and your comments. Appreciate it. So let's select this. I think I was here. All right, so I've taken you through iPad. I've gone over rule options in your mail app for iCloud.com and on my Mac. I've gone through smart mailboxes and smart mailbox folders. So what are some of the other options that you have to reduce the amount of emails that are driving you crazy? You can delete them, of course. You can also block a sender if you get emails from someone who you know and you don't want to receive any more emails from them. This isn't the same as spam. Spam is something different. I'll show you in a second. You can also unsubscribe. I have set the unsubscribe button for about 90% of the emails that I used to subscribe to. For example, travel agencies, departments, retail stores, and so forth, because at a certain point, it just became more of a nuisance and frustration to see these emails come in every day. Some who would send 2 or 3 a day, and it just became exasperating. You can also, for those emails that you might want to save or mailbox that you might want to save, you can export that mailbox. I want to show you that. And another method of saving it is saving an email or even a group of emails is that you can export the emails or print the emails to PDF. So let's take a look at that. First thing I want to show you is exporting the entire email box out. So I'm going to select my favorite email box here. Let's select something with a little fewer mails in it. All right, so actually let me show you how to do PDF first. So I have these emails, and let's just assume I want to keep some semblance of these emails, but I don't want them in my mail program. I can select and save these several different ways. So I'm going to select all of these. I can go to the File menu, and I can select Export as PDF. If I select Export as PDF, what the app will do is ask me, okay, where do you want to put these? I'm going to create a new folder, untitled folder, let's just say NMUG. And I'm going to save this on my desktop for visual purposes, and then I select Choose. What the Mail app will do is export all of these emails out as separate PDFs. And it should take just a few more seconds to get this, and maybe I can show you the mailbox while it's doing that. So if I double click here, so these are the PDFs that it's creating from the emails. And they hold all of the information. I can click through all of the pages. So this is one way to save those emails. I can also do this. Now that exports them out as separate emails. So it still wants to do this. I'm going to cancel this because I don't want to see this anymore. I can also tell it to print these emails. And what it will do, it will then combine all of these emails into one PDF. And if you look, you'll see here, it says 1 of 82 pages. So instead of having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 separate PDFs, it combined those 9 separate PDFs into one PDF. And what I'm going to do then is go to the PDF menu here and select Save as PDF. So I sort of doing it twice. And I'm going to save this to my desktop and choose Save. And it's preparing, letting me know the amount of pages that it's going to create. And boom, it's done. So if I go back to my desktop, here's that PDF. And so here is those 9 PDFs combined into one. And all of these links here, and actually I could open this, but all of the links that you may see in the PDF, they are still active links. So creating a PDF of an email will bring all of the links intact. Something else that I could do, selecting, let's click on it, selecting the mailbox itself. I could right click, and I can also do that from here. I could export the mailbox. So exporting the mailbox will take that mailbox and keep it in what I want to call mailbox form and allow you to just take all of the emails out. So let me show you what I mean. So I've told it to export that mailbox. I'm going to export it to the desktop. Let's select choose, and let's hide this. Whoops. Undo. Accidentally selected delete. I want it to select that. So here is the inbox that I just created here. If I open it up, it goes through the different folders and subfolders, and it ends up with this. This is actually the inbox that houses all of those emails, those 9 emails. This is what it looks like. So by exporting it out, I can then save it on my desktop somewhere. And when I want to look at all of these emails again, I then just import it back into the Mail app. So that's another way to save your emails, PDF and exporting the mailbox out. All right, so let's go back. So there are a lot of different ways for you to unclutter your mailbox. And let me show you one thing, how you can block someone. So let's say I wanted to block George. He just sent so many emails. If I wanted to block George, if I come over to not really George, sorry. If I wanted to do that, I would come over to George's name, and if I right click on any email address, you're given an option. You can block that contact. So what will happen is that the emails will still come in, but you won't get a notification from this person or that company. If I go to preferences, if I go to junk mail, it shows me right here all of the blocked emails or text messages. These are blocked text messages from spam text messages that come to my iPhone, and they evidently had email addresses attached to them. So this is a list of every one that I've blocked in the last couple of years. I'm not going to go down this list. Some of these people I know, some of these people I don't. So you can see these are just spam. And when it comes to junk mail, you can also select junk mail behaviors and set mail how to look for different junk mail and how to filter it. The reason I don't have anything selected here is because I don't use Mail's junk mail filtering automatic system. I actually use another spam filtering system app by the name of SpamSieve. I've actually used this for all of the email programs that I've had for the last 17 years. It's called SpamSieve. It's by developer Michael Tsai, Michael Tsai, and it is an absolutely excellent spam filtering program. I've used it for 17 years, and it is probably the best I've ever come across. So those are the different ways that you can tame your email inbox, that you can create filters, that you can reduce the flow and clutter of email that you have, and hopefully just tame it. So with that, I want to thank you for joining me. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I was always under the impression, you know, the emails that at the bottom say subscribe here.
Yes.
That wasn't a good idea, because then they knew that you were there trying to unsubscribe, so they'll keep sending them because you're there.
Well, that's fine, and that can be for spam. But when you have emails coming in from department stores, Nordstrom's, Macy's, or something, they do have an unsubscribe button at the bottom of there. And, you know, sales happen 24/7 every day. I don't need to know every single sale that comes in. So those are the type of unsubscribe buttons that I'm talking about. Yeah.
It's those other wacky ones that I'm always suspicious of.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so well.
And you are correct, just to delete them. Right.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay,
Okay,
go
can
ahead.
you hear me?
I can hear you fine, Alan.
Yeah. If George had missed in the subject when you asked him to send you an email, and he mistyped one character or maybe two characters in the subject, would the program be smart enough to ask you, did you mean, and put the mailbox that it was with that name? Would it recognize that you almost typed the right subject?
Most of the time, no, but because I had him type in 3 words, critical Zoom info, if he had mistyped info, it would have recognized the other 2. And still, that rule would have pulled in that email.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Alan.
Question is, could you tell me the name of the spam filter that you've used for 17 years, or program, I guess?
Okay, can you see the chat box?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to type in the name of the app in this chat box, and you can find it there. It's SpamSieve by Michael Tsai. Excellent program.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you do the same for the pointer?
I can do that, yes.
Please, thank you.
Mouseposé. That would be option E. There you go. All right, that's for the pointer. All right, James Corsica, last question. Can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Cheetah, as far as I'm concerned, you saved the best to last, if I understand it correctly. Are you saying that if I right-click on the sender in an email and mark block, that's like sending it to a junk file that I never see?
Possibly, yes. It will possibly send it to it. What it might do, it might send it to junk mail. It might just leave it in your inbox, but never let you see, never like read unread. It'll just bring it in and leave it. And actually, let me back up a second and say this. If blocked, you also have the option for people that you block. You can tell it to move that mail immediately to the trash.
Oh.
So there might be people I get emails from that I never see because I tell it to move that email message immediately to the trash.
Oh man, this was worth the price of admission, Cheetah.
I'm glad you got something out of it. Thank you so much, James.
Thanks.
All right, Mitch, I'll take you, Mitch. Last question.
Yes, on that spam program, if I do that on the Mac, then does that go in the right folders and everything on my iPad?
No. This is SpamSieve will work for the Mail app, not for iCloud.com. I'm sorry, I should have said that just in case that made a difference. But I use that on my.
Where is it putting the spam then?
You can tell it where to put it, to either put it in the spam folder that is on your Mac program, and then you can tell it to delete the spam folder. So, or delete the emails in the spam folder. So with your rules, you can always tell it to delete the emails. Sometimes you don't even have to see them.
But isn't that spam folder the same spam folder on my, isn't it in iCloud? And wouldn't that just show on the?
No, they will be two different folders. You can have a spam filter on a spam folder on your Mail app and a spam folder in iCloud.com.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, time is up. I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you got something out of this.
Yes, it was good. I'm not going to use a lot of it, but it was still very interesting.
That's all right. You can use it. No, whatever you need. Take what you need and leave the rest.
Sorry, I'm still unmuted. I didn't know that.
That's all right.